Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So we have 5 days of May left, and in the entire month of May I finished 5 books and I DNF'd 1, so 6 books. That's really bad for me. Like, I usually read anywhere from 14 to 19 books. So, that's why we're doing this reading vlog. I have 5 days. My goal is to read at least 5 books, but we'll just see what happens. I'm trying. I just want to read, get my numbers up a little bit. I would love for it to be at least 5 books, because that would mean that I read 10 books in the month of May. But May was not it for me. So I do have one of these to start. I don't know, maybe I'll read both of them. They're both horror novellas. There's Not My Baby by Anya Mora and Hexus by Charlene Ellsby. I'm actually super duper excited for Not My Baby. And I think this is going to be like a vlog style, or like a scavenger hunt style, so we won't know what my next book is going to be. I think I'm going to start with Not My Baby. I'm going to read this, talk about it, and then based on something in this book will help me pick my next one. Like, there's clearly a baby involved in this book, so maybe my next book could be about, or could have a baby in it, or it could be like, this is a horror novella, so my next one could also be a novella. It just depends on what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling at the end of this. I haven't done one of these like scavenger hunt type reading vlogs in a long time, since like the beginning of my channel, which was several years ago. You'd have to go through hundreds of videos. Maybe I'll just link it for you. Anyways, let's do this. I'm gonna get my reading glasses and start reading this. I read the first chapter of Not My Baby. It was so intense. I think it was only like 9 pages. But you are following this woman named Magnolia who is in labor. And she's having a baby. Clearly, if she's in labor, she's having a baby. But her baby is 3 weeks early. And she lives on this remote island with just her husband, but her husband's out of town for some kind of work, and so she's alone and she's in labor. And it was messy, and like, I'm not a mom, so I've never given birth, but it seems like a lot on your own. And she's a midwife, so she was training. She had a midwife as well. Like, she is a midwife. That's her job. But she also had a midwife who wasn't there at the time, but she's giving birth to this baby. And then this baby girl comes out of her, and you learn a lot about her, like, history and how they lost a baby already, and that's got to be so tough. And then she's giving birth to this baby, and she's, like, alone. It's during a storm. It's isolated, and I don't know. I really enjoyed that first chapter. I know it was really short, but it just painted such a vivid picture in my head. Now, she fell asleep after attending to the baby last night and giving birth, and she fell asleep hard. She said she was like some kind of tired that she's never felt before, like a ton of bricks hit her over the head or something. And when she woke up, Ivan, her husband, is there, but the baby girl that she just gave birth to, not there. Nope, there's a baby boy who she doesn't recognize. So I'm very interested in finishing this. So I might sit down and finish this, but I do have to charge my camera because my camera is about to die. I finished Not My Baby by Anya Mora because it was really small. It's not a horror novella. It is a novella, like a thriller novella. So I didn't particularly love this. I think I'm gonna give it like a 2-star. So that means for the scavenger hunt, I have to put like something very low expectations, or could be about a baby, or a domestic thriller, or a psychological thriller, or a novella. Sorry. So, like, I'm gonna fix my hair, and yeah, it was fine-ish. It was fine. I didn't love it. I could also pick, like, a book that has, like, that's kind of inside someone's head, where you follow from inside someone's head and you're not sure if you can trust them. So everything that I'm thinking about would be like another thriller. But do I want another thriller? I mean, they're married, so I could get a contemporary that follows a married couple. I mean, that could work. See, the thing about Not My Baby is that, like, nothing happens at all. You're just following her inner thoughts. Mag's inner thoughts. And, like, she is convinced that when she gave birth, her baby was a baby girl. And she gave birth at home. You know, because midwives and stuff like that. And, like, it takes place on this island where you kind of follow from the midwife's. I mean, you don't really follow her perspective. I guess our main character is one of the midwives on the island. But it was just like, okay, well, is she crazy? Did maybe... And then there's, like, this thing about postpartum. Because, okay, so she had a baby, like, a year ago. And it was a stillborn. And her name was Lucy. And I'm not going to tell you what happened, but I was 100% convinced that she was, like, she was very untrustworthy. And, you know, there were reasons for that, but I'm not going to spoil it. It was just like, well, is she maybe mixing up things with what happened to Lucy a year ago? Or did she really have a baby girl? If she did have a baby girl, then how did that baby girl turn into a boy? The initial mystery of what happened, like, how is this not my baby, was really good. And I really didn't trust Mags. So I thought maybe she was cray-cray. And that's what they want you to think. And, like, I'm not going to tell you how it ends or anything, but I could use, like, unreliable narrator or unreliable main character. I also was not a fan of this marriage, so it could be, like, a diabolical relationship or, like, a domestic thriller. I could also read something about, like, a missing kid or something. Let me go figure out what I'm gonna read next. Okay, so we started with Not My Baby, and, like, I did not particularly love this one. It was fine. It was a very quick read, so I guess that's good to kind of amp up my numbers for May, because, like I said, I've only read 5 books this month. So there's book number 6. And from Not My Baby, we're gonna jump into Such a Good Wife by Serafina Nova Glass. It starts with a lie, it'll end in a nightmare. So because this is kind of like a domestic thriller about this woman that gives birth in her home on her own, and she gives birth to a little baby girl, or like, so she says, but she's very unreliable. And then when she wakes up, her husband is holding a baby boy, and they're claiming that it's her baby, but she's like, that's not my baby, I had a girl. And it was, like, very in her own head type of thriller, which I'm hoping Such a Good Wife is not. I hope this is going to be, like, I think it's going to be a domestic thriller. So I think it starts with the husband cheating on her, but I'm not really entirely sure. I'm going into this very, very blind. I am 90 pages into Such a Good Wife by Serafina Nova Glass. I'm DNFing this. I'm DNFing this. So you follow Mel, who is a stay-at-home mom and a wife, and she has a lot going on, and it was intriguing at first, but literally her husband signed her up for this this writing class at the library or at this bookstore, and they meet once a week, and it's just like a fun time, kind of like a book club but a writing club instead. And they just talk about some of the stuff that they've been writing and different things. And she starts having an affair with an author, like a really popular author that goes to this bookstore. And I really hate her, and I really just, I'm not having fun. It's not a thriller. It's not a thriller. It's not. It's like a dark, forbidden romance, kinda, but not really. It's boring, and it's just about her affair with Luke, and like how she kinda somewhat feels bad about it, but not really. And like it started off so strong because her son named Ben, he's on the autism spectrum, like, and that was really intriguing to me, but she didn't really explain much of it. Then there was this storyline, or this potential storyline with her mother-in-law that could have been really good, but again, kind of dropped the ball on that one and nothing happened. As of yet, I haven't finished it and I'm not going to. But, what a shame. What a shame. So I'm thinking for my next book, because I don't want it to be a DNF or a 1-star or even a 2-star like the last one was, I think I'm just gonna pick one of my new to me books over there, that stack right there. So I'm gonna go over there and pick one of those, because this book and Not My Baby were both from that stack over there. So I'm just gonna see what books I've bought in 2024 and pick one to read. I'm really nervous for this book, so let's just do it. I got the audiobook of this, so I'm gonna try that. This is How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kong. I'm very sorry if I butchered that name. This was one of the last books I got from Book of the Month before I canceled that subscription. They keep trying to get me to come back. They keep sending me emails. But I mean, it looks really pretty, but I'm nervous because this follows Helen and Grant. They're bound together forever, but I don't know why. Like, it didn't really explain it to me. So, from what I gather, Helen is like this best-selling author now, and now she has like a stint in the writer's room of what is essentially like an SNL show, I think. And Grant, it's very vague about Grant, but I think that he's a screenwriter, and I think they get a job at the same place, and this is like them meeting for the first time in 13 years after something happened that bound them together forever. So I'm not entirely sure what it's about. I just know that I'm nervous because it kind of gives me the Curtis Sitterfield vibes. This book, that vibe. And the weird thing is that I really liked the SNL part of this book, but I hated the romance and just thought it was like it just was not good in my opinion. So I go into like actresses and like author books about writing and things like that. I go into that very skeptically because usually I don't like those type of books. So that's why I'm really nervous for this one. But I figured since I started with a 2-star thriller that led me to a DNF'd erotica. It's not erotica. I'm sure it's a thriller, but 100 pages in and it still feels like an erotica about this girl that's having an affair with someone she met at the bookstore with an author. So let's change it up a little, not do another thriller, and yeah, I'm gonna try the audiobook to see if I like it. I'm also, here, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna get some of this cleaned up. I did tell my husband that I'm gonna redo all my shelves, but I have a little secret, and I'm gonna have to redo all my books anyway. So I'm gonna try and hold out and wait a month or two until the secret's done. And you already know about the secret at that point. Anyways, let me show you what I am going to try and do. So these aren't even on the right shelves. There are different shelves out in the living room where these go. This is just for this video, so I'm going to keep it right here for all the books that we read. I hope to read at least 5, so we'll see. And then these do not go here, but that was for the blind pick that George helped me with, so I need to put those away. And then my shelves here are just so messy. These are all the books that I've bought in 2024 and have yet to read. So I don't like that it's like, no, it's not balanced and they're gonna fall. And so I'm gonna stop that. So I'm gonna like take all of those off and put those ones back. That might be my big project. But yeah, just some small things. I also, well, actually I'm not gonna do that yet, but many of these books are gonna be unhauled on Mango. I'm gonna wait until after May when I do my May wrap up. But some of these just need to be moved. They're all over the place. I'm literally 10 pages into How to End a Love Story by Yulin Khan. And so, oh my gosh. So the very beginning of this book is, I thought that Grant and Helen had some kind of like history as like boyfriend girlfriend, but I was wrong. I was oh so wrong. So Helen's sister, was at a party and she got drunk and she was on her way home. She was walking home and Grant hit her with his car because the story is that she ran out of nowhere and he hit her and Grant showed up at her funeral and Mom was like, no, get out, I don't want you anywhere near here, get out. So that was 13 years ago. And now today they're both struggling writers and I think that they are going to end up working at the same place. And I'm really interested to see how that works out for them. I don't know if this is a romance. I thought it was. It looks very romance-y. But I feel like this is going to be a very hard-hitting novel, which might be good for me. It might be something that I end up loving. But I'm also kind of scared now. it is quite a bit later, and I've read 107 pages of How to End a Love Story. It's okay. Like, for a book that is very intense and hard-hitting, I'm missing the emotion in this book. I don't get the chemistry. Like, I really loved the cabin scene, or scenes in the cabin. I loved the camping trip, but other than that, I'm just bored. Like, I'm bored. I don't care about the love story. Right now, they don't even love each other. They kind of hate each other, but it's a very slow burn, and I can see where they're going, but I'm just so bored with this book. So I'm gonna take a break. I'm still gonna be finishing this, but I got this at Barnes & Noble last week, and it's Myrtle Volume 1, 100 Elementary to Impossible Mysteries to Solve Using Logic, Skill, and the Power of Deduction. So there's that, and then you have to read, like, the mystery, and then fill out this little, like, it's like a logical puzzle, and I love these. So I'm gonna take a small break and do this probably on camera. I have to find a pencil, and yeah, I just thought this would be something different. Okay, this first one is called Murder in Hollywood. When Detective Logico was invited to a fancy dinner party at a mansion in the Hollywood Hills, he thought he had finally made it. Unfortunately, he was not the guest of honor. He was there to solve the murder of the guest of honor. Then I'm probably not going to talk it through with you, but there's this little thing over here. It's a guide of suspects and locations, and then the weapons are on this page, and then it has clues and evidence. So for clues, it says the amazing Auron trusted the suspect who brought a fork. So then you have to go over to the suspects list, and the amazing Arlone, Midnight 3. Okay, and then it has, like, their entire profiles and everything. So then, yeah. Okay, I'm excited. I'm probably just gonna go and fast forward, though. Okay. Okay, I am on chapter 18, which is 194 pages. into How to End a Love Story. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna finish it tomorrow. Can I finish this tonight? I mean, I'm like a little over halfway. I don't want to finish it tonight though. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't buy Helen and Grant as a couple. And it's not even that I hate Grant. I don't really hate Helen either. I just find them both immensely boring. And like, I'm not rooting for their relationship. I'm not rooting against it. It's just kind of there. It's just kind of there. And like, I don't know. I'm just not having any fun whatsoever with this romance book. I just wanted like a feel-good, happy little romance book because I've been reading a lot of thrillers and I haven't been liking them. But I'm starting to think that I'm the problem. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. But seriously, I'm immensely bored. Like, I wanted to love this story because of the tragedy that happens at the beginning where like Grant ran over Helen's sister and she died. But it's not as like black and white as that makes it seem. There were a lot of other things at play. Her sister was really drunk. Her sister was talking about suicide right before that, and her sister just jumped in front of the truck and he had no time to stop and no time, you know. So I don't think Grant is a bad person. Yeah, it's a tragedy and it sucks what happened for both Helen and Grant, but I just find them very boring as characters. Being inside their brains is just like hitting my head over the wall a million times. And I'm just, I'm not liking it, but I'm gonna finish it. I don't want to DNF another book in this reading vlog. At least I'm reading though, because in the month of May so far, I've only read 5 books, which is really sad for me. I usually read between 14 to 19 books. So at least my numbers will be closer to like 10 or 12 when this reading vlog is over. But I'm so sorry. I'm hating this book so much. Please don't hate me. Alright, it's a little bit later, and I have finished How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwan. I'm very sorry if I mispronounced that. I don't like it. I think I'm gonna give it 2 stars. Which seems like a running joke so far, you know. So here's the thing. For a love story that's supposed to have a lot of trauma and a lot of heartache and like, so her sister at the very beginning of the book, like, kills herself by jumping out in front of Grant's truck. And Grant couldn't stop because he was going like 60 miles an hour. And, like, she came out of nowhere. And so she died. And I get why the family doesn't like him. Although in reality, it wasn't really his fault. It was her fault. And she left a suicide note, I believe. And I mean, it really doesn't matter. But like, the hatred that they have for each other didn't feel real. I didn't connect to either of the MCs. Like, they were both very, very boring. And I just did not jive with this book at all. So I'm going to give it 2 stars, and what a shame because it's such a beautiful cover. 2 stars, 1 star. 1 star. I mean, I actively did not like this book. I should have DNF'd this one too, but because I already DNF'd a book today, I didn't want to do that. I think I've picked out my next book though. Okay, so How to End a Love Story was not great, but the one redeeming thing in How to End a Love Story that I actually liked was the scenes of them, like the office romance, and like when they were at the office, they were getting flirty. That was fun. Also, there's like no plot in this. It's all really cringy smut scenes. Like real cringy smut scenes. Not even good. Just cringe worthy. So, needless to say, that's why I'm giving it 1 star. But the one redeeming thing that I actually quite liked in How to End a Love Story was the fact that they were both writers and they work at the same place. So I'm going to read another like writer type book. I think it might be a romance. It's Talk Bookish to Me by Kate Bromley, and I mean, look at that cover. So there's a book, there's New York in the background. Is that New York? I think that's New York. So, Talk Bookish to Me. Kara Sullivan's life is full of love, fictional love. As a best-selling romance novelist and influential bookstagrammer, she's fine with getting her happily ever after fix between the covers of a book. But right now, not only is Kara's best friend getting married next week, which means big wedding stress, but the deadline for her next novel is looming, and she hasn't written a single word. The last thing she needs is for her infuriating first love, Ryan Thompson, to suddenly appear in the wedding party. But Ryan's unexpected arrival sparks a creative awakening in Kara that inspires the steamy historical romance she desperately needs to deliver. With her wedding duties intensifying, her deadline getting closer by the second, and her bills not paying themselves, Kara knows there's only one way for her to finish her book and to give her characters the ever after they deserve. But can she embrace the unlikely, ruggedly handsome muse who pushes every one of her buns to save the wedding, her career, and just maybe write her own happy ending? Oh my gosh, that one sounds cute. And like, here's the thing. I read the 2 books, and I DNF'd one today, all on the same day. So I'm probably not going to start this till tomorrow. But if I can read 3 books, if I can read 2.5 books a day for the next 4 days, then I can hit my goals. But I'm going with this. If I end up hating this, then don't be mad if I stop this video early and just quit reading. Okay, I'm being dramatic, but like, really, I've read, I'm not liking anything, and I don't know if it's because I'm still kind of in a reading slump, or if these books are just not good. Editing Alita popping in real quick. For some reason, I never talked to you about Talk Bookish to Me by Kate Bromley, but I have clips of me finishing it and crying at the end. So this book did make me cry towards the end, and I kept debating. Like, I was really, really bored with this entire book until the ending where, like, I cried because it was just so cute. I mean, it was sad, but it was cute, and they tried to mend your heart together again in this book. But I think I didn't personally love this book because it's a second chance romance, and what I've learned about myself is that I don't like second chance romances. Which is weird because I love romances that follow a married couple or a couple that's been together for a long time, but they're going through rocky moments and rocky times, and I like seeing them work through it. But if they haven't seen each other in like 10 years and they're meeting up for some reunion or wedding, I don't like those stories. And I don't know why, but they're both like in this mutual friend's wedding. And I think he's like a groomsman, she's a bridesmaid, and she has all these duties as a bridesmaid. And she's like, why did you pick Ryan? And you know, her best friend's like, sorry, it wasn't really my choice. And she's like very reluctant to meet him, and then when they do, instantly fake sparks fly. And like, I didn't feel any chemistry in this romance book again. And that really just, I hate it. There was fake chemistry. I mean, it wasn't real. Nothing in this book felt real to me. until the ending, but I kind of feel like that's a little bit too late. Like, you should have built up their personalities and the chemistry before the end of the book. Although I do love the, like, grand gesture moment, but like I said, a little bit too late for me. So yeah, I didn't love this one. I think I ended up giving it 2 stars again. So we might have like a running joke in this vlog. Alright, it is quite a bit later, and I have decided that I'm going to continue on with The Overdue Life of Amy Byler by Kelly Harms. This follows this woman named Amy Byler, and her husband comes back to town. Her husband's name is Josh, Jake, I don't remember, but I think his name was John, and he comes back to town. They're not like divorced or anything like that, because he just like walked out on his entire family, so his wife and his daughter and his son 3 years ago. So he's been gone for like 3 years doing who knows what with who knows who, and he's like, I'm sorry that I was such a trash father. I want to make it up to you. And she went home and talked to the kids because they're involved, clearly. And Corey, the teenage daughter, is like, I don't want anything to do with him. He left me around my 12th birthday. So she's like 15 now, and she's just like, I want to hate my father forever. And the son is like 12 now, and he is just like, I don't understand why he's back. So we're still kind of getting to figure out the whole situation and how he's gonna make it up to Amy. I don't think that he wants a relationship with Amy, his wife. I think he just wants to make it up to his children. So I actually have the audiobook of this one, so I'm gonna listen to the audiobook as I clean my shelves. So I wasn't going to move anything on my shelves because I have a secret. My husband, my dear husband, has been building me my dream library, like all by itself, and I've been helping him pick different aspects of it, but honestly he's done like 98% of the work. I'm giving myself 2%, but that's probably pretty generous. Really, if I'm out there, I'm just holding things for him and like grabbing tools, and I'm not very helpful. But I'm really excited, and I was gonna try and wait for that before I go through all of my books. And I'm not necessarily going through them, but I've been really wanting to rearrange them, so I guess that's what we're gonna do in this video. It's probably gonna go on fast forward for you while I listen to the audiobook. It's just gonna be part of the vlog. It's not gonna be its own video, because it will be its own video when we actually talk about the creating the room and putting in bookshelves and painting and floors and like just creating my dream library. There will be a dedicated video. It might not be out for a little while. I'm thinking like a couple more months, but we will see when that comes out, when that happens. But I'm just gonna listen to The Overdue Life of Amy Byler and just rearrange some of these books. I don't know why, but I just really need to. I just need to. Alright, so I finished The Overdue Life of Amy Byler, and you saw me finishing the last few chapters. I've been debating, like, my ratings for this, but here's the thing. Like, okay, let me just tell you what it's about, and then I'll tell you my thoughts. You follow Amy Byler, whose husband, John, left her and her 2 kids behind like 3 years ago. He went to Hong Kong for a business trip, and then he called her and said that he was not coming back. And needless to say, they haven't seen him or really talked to him in the past 3 years. So he comes back to the small town in Pennsylvania that, you know, they live, and he basically is like, I need a relationship with my kids. I made a mistake when I left them behind. So let me take care of them for a week, and you can go on like a mom vacation or whatever. And reluctantly, she's like, I'll think about it. And then she ultimately does go to New York. So like a little vacation, but you know, it's not that far. Away from her kids for a week. And then things happen, and that week turns into a whole summer. And then she's like off living her life. And I mean, she talks to her kids, but she hasn't seen them in almost the entire summer. And then John is taking them to like a summer camp. I think it's the last like week or 2 of summer, and they're both going to separate summer camps. So Joe is going to a summer camp for space, like space camp, and Corey is going to like a diving camp type thing. And the ending made me cry. The ending was like tugging at my heartstrings, and that was like my favorite part of the book. But the entire book was really boring, and I wasn't liking it. Okay, I will tell you the things that I did like. I really did like Corey's perspective. She's the teenage daughter, and at the beginning of each chapter, there's a Dear Mom letter from Corey at the beginning of each chapter, and I really, really enjoyed those. I like the fact that Amy is a librarian, a teacher, and I enjoyed her personality mostly, but I just find it very unrealistic that, like, I'm not saying parents can't take breaks. Like, I feel like parental breaks would be good, you know, like go have a date night, or, you know, if you're a single parent, then go out with the girls, or just have a night to yourself. That's okay. It's even okay to have a weekend or a little vacation without the kids, if that's really what you want, or if that's what you need. That's fine. I just find it really hard to believe that, like, yes, John is their dad, biologically speaking, but he's been gone for 3 years. You don't know a single thing about him, other than on, like, yeah, maybe at one point you guys were in love and, like, you built a family together, but he just abandoned that family. There's gonna be so many things, like, I'm sorry, but if I was a kid and my dad abandoned me and it was near my birthday, absolutely not. I would not want to hang out with him. Even if he was trying to make amends. I would not be comfortable, like, with my father. And then, like, also on Amy's perspective, like, why... I get that he's biologically their father, but he hasn't been in the picture in years. So why? I don't know. So there were things that just didn't quite add up to me. But I really loved the ending. The ending was heartbreaking, and I'm going to give it 3 stars. I was really sold on a 2-star. So now I am giving it a better grade or better rating because of the ending. So 3 stars. So I need to clean this room. It's really messy. But I also need to go finish the shed. So let me go show you what I mean. But I started going through the stuff in the shed, and I'm trying to put my brother-in-law's stuff in one area so they can take it when they move. Then mine and my husband's stuff, and I'm also going through mine and my husband's stuff and trying to just organize that half of the shed. And then the other half of the shed, my husband has been working so hard on creating me a room that's gonna end up being my library. So maybe we'll check that out real quick too. There should be a vlog of that later, way later. But I just want to listen to an audiobook. So a 3-star prediction. I don't want a 3-star prediction. A book I think will make me cry. I bet you I could find one of those. I mean, again, I could do a new to me book, or like a book that I bought this year and get some of those down. I mean, I could do like a lit fic or a woman's fiction. Okay, I'm gonna think about this, and I'm gonna find an audiobook to read after this one. It could also be like a blue cover, or like books on the cover, or a bookish book. Ooh, you know what? I think I found it. I think I'm gonna listen to Undercover Bromance by Lisa K. Adams. This is technically on June's TBR, so am I cheating? Oh well. This is the second book in the Bromance Book Club, and I read the Bromance Book Club at the beginning of the month, in May. So, that's what I'm gonna do. I think that this one's gonna be a 5-star though, but like, it's a bookish book. They both have books on the cover. She's like a librarian, a teacher, and there's a librarian, and she also invented this like reading curriculum that's on the Kindle, and it was interesting. So that's how it's like bookish. This one is bookish because it follows the Bromance Book Club, who are these men who read romance books to kind of help save their marriages or save their relationships. And this one follows Brandon and Liv. I do think that I've read this before, but I don't remember it at all. So I'm just gonna go in with like a fresh mindset, and this will be my next book. I think I've read over 5 books in this reading vlog. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going on to my 6th book in 3 days. Woo! Go me! Okay. So for now, I'm done. But I still have more work. So it's not like a finished product. It's just, I'm done for now. First off, all this stuff is getting donated, both of those bins. That stuff back there needs to go into my classroom after the summer, along with that box. And then in here, let's turn on the light and go. Okay, so this is the brother-in-law's stuff. They take up all the way to that stack of boxes. This is all computer stuff that Patrick has to go through, along with more computer stuff, and then what little else we have back here is kind of Christmas tree. That's gonna go up in my library when it's done. Oh, but it was a lot of work. And then Patrick's tools are over here. I don't know if you can see them, but they're like right over there too. So he has to go through that stuff. I'm done for today. But I've also read, I've listened to 38% of Undercover Bromance, and I'm enjoying it. I don't remember liking it as much as I am. So you follow Liv, who is Thea's sister. Thea and Gavin are the couple that were in the first book, and Liv is Thea's sister, and this is her story, although it's not really a romance yet, but she was at work when it was like a really bad day at work, and then she heard her boss in the office with another girl, and they were he was sexually assaulting her, and the girl is reluctant to press charges or say anything. She's scared. So Liv basically stood up for her and then got fired because of it. And now Liv is trying to get Jessica, the other girl, to press charges, but she's so scared that she's not going to. And that's where Brandon Matt comes in, because he's like kind of a rich jerk, but he's not as jerky as Liv is saying that he is, but she thinks he's a jerk. And he is rich and kind of, you know, whatever. But he's really trying to help Liv help Jessica. And he's like, oh, well, I'll even offer Jessica a job. And he did all the right things, but Jessica is just too scared. And I think that you're going to move more towards Liv and Brandon having a relationship. But right now it's it's funny. It's kind of, I mean, the content in there is really hard, because, like, trigger warnings for sexual assault. But their banter, Mac and Liv's banter, is just so funny. And I don't really think that they really hate each other. I think she wants to hate him, but he doesn't hate her. And I'm just waiting for them to get together. But as of yet, 40% in, there's like no romance. So that's my update. Okay, I don't know why I thought that I didn't like Undercover Bromance by Lisa K. Adams. I do have to say that I preferred, I don't know, because this is so good. I was like crying at the end. Oh, so you follow Brandon Mack, who is kind of like a womanizer. He's very much a player, at least in the first book. He can't keep a girlfriend. He just like is a serial dater. And then in this book, at the very beginning, he's with this woman named Gretchen. And he's just like, oh yeah, you know, she's gonna be my girlfriend. And then they have like this awful day and they end up breaking up. And then he starts talking to Liv, because Liv was at the awful date. She worked at the restaurant, and something happened. Okay, there was sexual harassment that Liv overheard, so she was trying to stick up for someone that it happened to. It wasn't her, but she like turns into this stone cold machine of trying to get trying to make Royce, her old boss, pay for what he has done to women. And she overheard him that night, and then because she said something to him, he fired her. So now she's on a mission to make him pay for everything that he's done, and she doesn't even know 100% what he's done, but she does know that he's a monster of a person and that he has sexually harassed some of his female employees. And it was like this investigation into Royce, who like you can't help but hate, and Brandon and Liv just get closer and closer, and like it starts off so banter heavy because they hate each other, although it kind of becomes clear that Brandon, he's the same person. It's Brandon Mack, but he usually goes by Mac. He never really hated Liv, but Liv kind of at least acts like she hated him. And then it's just like their love story, but more than that, it's about taking Royce down because he's a monster of a human. And it was really good. It's like suspenseful, but it's romantic. It was very rom-com heavy, very banter heavy, and it was just so much fun. I cried at the end because I'm like, oh my gosh. But it was wonderful. I love this series so far. I haven't read the third one ever, so I'm very excited to get to the third Romance Book Club book at some point, hopefully this year. It has to be in 2024, so in the next 6 months. But I don't know what I'm going to read next for this reading vlog. Part of me kind of just wants to read another like banter heavy romance, but I don't know if I want another romance. So I'm gonna think about it for a little bit, watch some booktube, and get back to you when I pick my next book. My next book might be my last book of this reading vlog. It's a little bit later and I'm really nervous, but I know what book I'm gonna pick after Undercover Bromance. I have a Kindle book, so I'll pop it right here. It's called The Traveling Cat Chronicles. It's a translated fiction from Hiro Erwaka. I know I butchered that. It's translated from Japanese, and I don't really know what it's about, but I got an arc of it a long time ago. It's already out. It's been out for a while. Let's see. It's been out since 2018. Okay, I don't think I got an arc of it then. But I definitely got the Kindle version from a giveaway on Goodreads. I thought it was an e-arc, but I don't think so, because I don't think I don't know. Anyways, it's one that I should have read a long time ago. I just listened to the prologue, and I was already crying. So, but I'm also going to the gym. My brother-in-law is going to the gym, so I'm going to go with him. I'm going to fill this up with some water, and I have my phone. It's a Kindle book, so I'm just going to be reading the Traveling Cat Chronicles because, okay, in Undercover Bromance, Liv's best friend Alexis has her own, like, bakery or cafe, but she has 2 cats that live at the bakery, and every Tuesday she does this, like, adoption event for cats that need homes, and it was a big part of the story. So I'm like, okay, let's just read a cat story. I've heard that this makes a lot of people cry, and I think that it follows this cat named Nana, and he's a stray cat, but then this guy, I don't know the guy's name yet, so I'm just gonna call him this guy. He starts taking care of this stray, and then I think that they get this friendship bond together, and I also think that they go on some kind of, like, road trip across Japan together, but I heard that's really, really sad, and that it'll make me cry, so I'm not looking forward to this, but I am looking forward to this, and we'll see how fast I get through it. It's a fairly short book, like, less than 300 pages it looks like, but if it's real sad, then I might not read it super fast, so I guess we'll see. I'll update you probably after the gym. Editing Alita popping in one more time. You're welcome. I finished the Traveling Cat Chronicles yesterday night. And here's the thing. I didn't like it. I know. This reading vlog is all the books that I didn't like. I'm actually unhauling all of them except for The Overdue Life of Amy Byler and Undercover Bromance. Although the Overdue Life of Amy Byler might be one that I unhaul eventually because I didn't love it, but I do want to keep it for now. Anyways, let's get back to the Traveling Cat Chronicles. I didn't like the writing in this book. I felt like I was being told what was happening and not letting myself feel my own feelings about what was going on in the book. It was more like, oh, you're supposed to be sad right now because the cat almost got hit by a car. Oh, but this young man decided that he's gonna save this cat, and that should make you feel super duper happy. And I don't know, I just really had a problem with the writing of this book, which is very disappointing because I know that a lot of people love this book. and everyone was saying that I'm gonna love the Traveling Cat Chronicles, and I just didn't. It wasn't it for me. I'm so sorry. I'm also gonna throw it back to yesterday me, but for some reason I am like in the middle of a sentence when my camera picks up. But basically I'm just wrapping up. Actually, you know what? I'll just wrap it up for you. We read 6 books in this reading vlog. We read Talk Bookish to Me, which I didn't love. We read The Overdue Life of Amy Byler, which I gave a 3-star. So it was fine, but not really good. Then we read Undercover Romance, which was the highlight of this reading vlog because I gave that 5 out of 5 stars and absolutely loved it. I can't believe that I forgot that I read it and loved it, but it's okay. Then the Traveling Cat Chronicles, we already talked about. I DNF'd Such a Good Wife. And then I read How to End a Love Story and gave it 1 star because that title was very misleading. It's not a love story, and I hated it. I didn't like the characters. They were so boring. And the one that we started with was Not My Baby by Anya Mora. And guess what? I hated that too. It was so sad because the beginning of that book, like the first chapter, I read it and I loved it. And then it just went super downhill from there. But thank you so much for watching this reading vlog. I'm so sorry that it sounds like I'm a negative Nancy in this vlog. It really does. I only liked 1 book out of 6 books that we read. But that does mean that if you are at all interested in any of these books, or you've heard better things from other people about some of these books, like Talk Bookish to Me, they are available on my Pingo, and my Pingo is linked down below, so go check it out. And there are other books too, so, you know, still go check out my Pingo and see if you want anything. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys in the next reading vlog. Hopefully the next one will be less negative.